You don't have to come on live force. You just need to be in the background for the website, not the website, for the questionnaires. Unless you can do both. Dr. Piper? Okay. So you are also. Give me the count, baby. Oh, I don't see us live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Again, my name is Dr. Margaret Reed, and I am here, your servant, along with the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center. And it is a podcast for all our viewers to hear stories about our survivors. Listen, as we observe National Suicide Prevention Week, it is critical time to focus on raising awareness about mental health and providing support to those in need. At the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center, we understand that struggle with mental health. We understand that you need support. And this afternoon, we bring to you women who have bounced back, women who bring to you their personal stories and how they have overcome. Sit back, relax, and let's get ready. We are here to help you overcome as well. So before any ado, let me ask how you ladies doing tonight?
We're doing good. How are you?
Wonderful. We cannot complain this afternoon. I am so joyful. How are you, Markisha?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having us and giving us the opportunity to speak and share our amazing story with so many beautiful individuals today.
Yes, ma'am. How are you, Emma?
I'm well. I'm grateful to be with you all tonight.
How are you, Rose?
I am blessed. I'm blessed. I'm very honored to be here tonight among such wonderful ladies. Thank you for having us.
So, guys, this is who we have with us tonight, right? Before we start with anything, we just want to give grace for you also watching here. This Angie, can you tell us share with us your personal story? What's going on? How did you start?
Good evening, everyone. I am Angie Reams from South Carolina. My personal story on being a survivor um, and where we are now. So, my first suicidal attempt was in 2015. To God be the glory that I am still here. I know this is, based on survivors, but I think that we are all victors. We are victorious women. We are mighty women of God. And so 2015 was a time where health issues made me feel like I was a burden, where I was dealing with so much and I had reached my mental capacity, as I like to say, where it was completely full. And everything that I was dealing with, it just felt like it was too much for me, and no one understood what I was going through. Um, so I'm glad to be here. I am grateful that God allows me to share my story unashamed, where He gets all the glory. There are so many people that deal with mental health issues and suicidal thoughts. And so just be able to share, um, just to be able to share with others in a place that is safe, where you'll help someone else. God is worthy to be praised.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What are you doing today? What are you doing today? Share with us. Introduce yourself. Who are you, Angie?
I am an author. I am an ordained minister. I have 17 years of experience in human services as my career. I'm a wife, a mother. I am a spoken word artist. I do liturgical dance. I truly believe that what you did for the world or what you do for the world, God will restore you and refine you in order for you to do it for His glory and for Him. So the little chick that was dancing in the club and doing everything, God truly gets the glory now because I do it for Him. So ministering to women in hopes that it will inspire them to be their best self. I am an author of 4 books. I also am the owner of Taylor Reams Coaching and Consulting, where I help businesses and ministries with marketing, help women to become their best selves, help organizations as it relates to getting their name out, just sharing the gifts that God has given me so that others can be blessed and they can share their gifts with the world.
Thank you so much. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Markeisha, thank you so much. We're going to go through it, right? Okay, so Markeisha, tell us who you are today. We're going to go back to the other one, but tell us who you are today.
Thank you so much. I am Markeisha Eddington Williams. I am a author. I am a passionate women's advocate, the founder of She Speaks Community, in which we create safe spaces for women to heal, for them to learn, for them to rise. I also am the founder of Building Black Leaders, in which we work with the youth to help empower them and bring them to a new level. I own a couple different companies, so I guess you could say I'm a serial entrepreneur, but one of those is D&D Consulting and Associates, which we help people grow their businesses into a place where they can flourish. But more than that, I am a domestic violence survivor. I am a suicide survivor, and now I am here using my story to help inspire hope, resilience, and self-love in others.
Yes, ma'am. We want to hear women who have made it, who have fought through it all and then make it today. So we're going to go through the steps, what happened to you all. But Emma, please share with our audience who you are today.
Sure. I'm Emma Churchman. I'm a trauma chaplain and a Quaker minister. I have worked with lots of different types of trauma, including suicide in 2 different hospitals, where we would have folks come in who had attempted suicide successfully or unsuccessfully. I also have a lineage of suicide in my family. My father and all 3 of my brothers died by suicide. And I wrote a book about it, which is coming out on October 14th. I don't know if you can see behind me. I've got 2 books out, but the second one is called Unshattered, which is the story of my childhood being raised by a mother with 123 personalities and then the impact that had on our family. Today, what I do is I run a trauma recovery certification program for coaches, healers, and practitioners, as well as folks who work with disaster organizations who are interested in helping people recover from trauma in real time. And I also work with businesses to help their employees and their leaders be able to cultivate more resilience around traumatic situations.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much. Wow. So, Rose, tell us about you.
Hi again, everyone. My name is Rose Vincent, and I am of Haitian descent, born and raised in Haiti, came to the United States at 14 years old.
Recording in progress.
I am a licensed massage therapist, acupuncturist. I am married, no children yet. And my husband and I recently started a company called Kingdom Lux Financials, where we are educating the community on financial literacy and helping them to set different things up so that they can have generational wealth and build generational wealth and learn to maintain and manage money in a healthy way.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us your today. See, tonight we want to dive into what happened. So let's go to Angie. We want to share with our audience, what happened to you. What you comfortable sharing? What happened to you? How did you get to this point? What caused that? And everybody will go exactly like that. What caused that? What were your symptoms? What circumstances in life that caused you to get to that path here?
Yes, ma'am. So for me, it was illness. The doctors diagnosed me initially with anxiety. And so I became what I call a lab rat, because nothing was helping. No matter what I did, I prayed. Um, the community prayed. My family was there. I began to feel like a burden, but the symptoms of the shaking and just being afraid and the different triggers kept me in what I called, what they called anxiety. And so at some point during that season of my life, like I said before, I reached a space of my mental capacity being overflowed with stress, with worry, with anxiety, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And so then seizures started. At one point in time, I was on 2,600 milligrams of medication per day. And I took that route because I didn't know any other thing to do. It was new to me. I needed help. I know that I needed help going from doctor to doctor, being out of work, not able to drive. I felt like my freedom was taken away from me. And so I got to a place where I just felt like I was a burden. I couldn't be the mother that my kids needed. That's how I felt. I couldn't be the wife that my husband needed. I couldn't be the daughter that my parents needed at the time. I just felt like I was unworthy of anything, like I was just worthless. And so the suicidal thoughts happened because I felt like everybody would be better if I was gone. And so one particular morning, it was almost like, you see the movies and you have the angel on one shoulder, you have the devil on the other shoulder. That's how my mind felt. And so one morning I got in my vehicle and I just knew that that was going to be my last day. The thoughts became overwhelming. And it was like a place of escape. And so I left home. I called into work that day. I left home, and that is when I thought it was going to be the end. Um, During that time, all I could hear was the angel on that shoulder saying, just call on the name of Jesus. And that's what I did. And I came out of that situation. Now, I will say that that wasn't the only time that I had the thoughts, but every thought that I've had was always centered from health issues. It always came from a place of health issues because I've always been the Wonder Woman for my family, the family manager, um, in a sense, making sure everybody got where they needed to be, making sure everybody was happy with, with themselves. They had the things that they needed. And when I got to a place where I could no longer feel like I was providing that safe place for them or that foundation for them because of my health, those thoughts came again.
Okay, so the same question we have for Markeisha. Markeisha, tell us, how did it start for you? What was that point in life that caused you to have those thoughts, and um, and how did you get out of it?
Thank you so
And
much. For
mhm,
me, it was just being the result of combined childhood trauma. When I began to be faced with other things in life, it became to the point where it was overwhelming because I grew up in one of those houses, kind of like what happened in the house stayed in the house. So we didn't
right,
seek counseling, we didn't depend on people from the outside. So everything began to build. So my first issue with suicide happened in 2000, right? Growing up in an apostolic church in a small town, the only real experiences we had were inside the house, you know, the limited experiences we had when we were at school, because what we could do was restricted. And then the experiences that we had with our church family. So my first year of college, I'm off and I am just in the center of everything. And that feeling of being wanted, that feeling of being loved, just falling into the wrong hands of someone
Right.
who was not fostering and catering into that. So when that person tries to take advantage of me, it wasn't so much the fact that he tried to take advantage, but just from sharing what had happened with other people, the condemnation and the faces and the shame was what actually brought me to the point of becoming suicidal. So for me, that is where it started. Not so much one particular thing, but kind of a chain reaction of things. And because not having that support, not having that help, not having people to talk to in a place where you wouldn't feel judged and things of that nature, it felt like your presence was my presence was no longer needed in the
Right.
place that I was in this world. And I can relate to Angie when she said, like, just not wanting to be a burden, not wanting to be here anymore. It felt like suicide was the way. So my last major attempt and battle with it was in 2018. I spent a month in ICU just being out of it, and actually spending over 2 weeks in the mental institution, not feeling value, not feeling worth, not having positive self thoughts, positive self talk about myself in the space in which I was in. So I felt like the only option at that time was to end my life.
Okay. So share with our audience, because I don't know if any of you here went to the hospital. Share with them what happened to you when you went to the hospital.
I will tell you. So you would think dealing with mental health, we would have a lot of better systems in place, but we actually don't. Right. So I remember leaving from the hospital, and I am walking at this point, because when you are there for mental issues, what you can have with you is very limited. So there is no change of clothes, your original belongings go back home with your family, and you are in the hospital in a gown. So I actually took what I call was the ultimate walk of shame, because I actually walked through the hospital behind a officer inside of paper clothes. I felt like a criminal, right? I felt like the lowest of the low, like I had just committed a horrible crime. And it wasn't even a point, you know, where it was kind of private and out through the back door. No, ma'am. We went down the main elevator, through the front lobby, down the hallways, throughout it seemed like we took every toss and turn in that hospital. And I remember getting to the mental health facility, and when you go through the process of getting examined, once again, if you are not a person who is used to being in these particular situations, at some level, you kind of feel violated, right? Because you're not understanding why they're doing these things. There's no one there to walk you through the process. There's nobody there to really explain to you what's going to happen. So my next thing I had a full check down from head to toe. So you telling me I've never been in trouble with the law. I am now supposed to get butt naked, bend over, cough, and examined by a stranger
Right.
out of this cold room. So when you first go into the mental institution, you are placed on a hold. So that hold is just depending on the laws and the regulations and the state of where you're at. It's 48 hours, 72 hours. But you're literally in a room in this particular place, it was like a wooden box on the bottom, and it was a thin mattress, and you got one thin blanket, right? The doors are open, and just depending on where they put you, you're actually in there with people who are suffering from different mental illness, right? So we actually had a lady called Big March, and it was because she was huge, like 6'3", big lady. My first night in the mental facility, she comes in my room and she uses the bathroom in the middle of my floor. So that for itself, the healing for me didn't begin in the facility.
Right. Well, I'm sure it didn't. But right then and there, when you saw yourself there, uh, what happened to your mind? What went through your mind?
So for the longest, I was upset, because I was like, how you gonna try to kill yourself and it don't work out, and you end up in this situation, right? So there were no, like, and I was married at this particular time, but my husband was not coming to visit, right? My mom was nowhere. She wasn't where she could reach me. So there were no visitors. There was no equal exchange of love. So at that time, I would probably say I felt worse than when I actually went inside of there. I felt lower in life than I because at this particular time when I went, I was working in corporate America. We lived in a nice house, we had a nice family, and I'm like, if I thought it couldn't get any worse, if I already thought I was hitting the ground, this has to be under the dirt, right?
Right.
So those thoughts and those motions, they were exemplified because now all these things are going on. At least at one point in time, I had other people around me, but now I'm surrounded by strangers and I'm all alone with just the voices inside of my head.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. We're coming back. Um, Emma, share with us that day. We want to know what happened that day.
That that day, what?
Okay, suicidal. The thoughts, and if you
Okay,
carried out. Yes, the
sure.
thought, and
So
if you carried out.
yeah, of course. So I have never personally been suicidal. I work with people who have been suicidal, and I have 4 family members who have died by suicide, but I've never personally been suicidal.
Okay, so your question would be, how was that day before your family member did?
I'm trying to decide which family member to focus on. One of my brothers, so all 3 of my younger brothers died by suicide. And one of them told me about 3 weeks before that he was going to end his own life. And this is something he had threatened to do multiple times. And we had had a number of conversations with it, starting from the time he was 6 years old. He ended his life when he was 41. So this was not a new conversation to have with him, but he shared with me his plan. He shared with me that he had told a couple of other people, and he wanted to have a couple of end of life conversations, just some reckoning on things that had happened for us in our childhood. And it was hard because I didn't know if he would follow through on it. And also knowing that he had been depressed and suicidal for 35 years at that point, it was hard for me to be just a witness for what was going on for him and to not want to fix him, to not want to make it different than what it was. It was a very significant decision for me to not attempt to intervene in ways that I had attempted to intervene in the past. And I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but that was the decision that I made. And then he ended his life 3 weeks later.
Wow. Well, we're sending you love today. Love, we send you plenty of hugs because I've never met anyone who have had multiple family members. So we are sending you love today.
Thank
I
you.
hope you can feel it. I
Thank you.
wanted to do a candle here, but then again, the fire rescue will come. So we don't want smoke here. But thank you so much. We're coming back, okay? So, Rose, what was it for you? The thought, and then what led to that thought, and did you carry out?
Yes. The thought, I mean, I guess it's like a recurring theme, just not wanting to be here, not feeling loved and accepted. Um, I am the middle child or the second child, and I can remember growing up, ever since I was a kid, I always felt shadowed, right? I always felt like I was a kid that was in the shadow. I was always the bad kid. I was always the one that was always getting in trouble. And it was because I was seeking a certain type of attention from my mom, really, because I wasn't really raised with my dad. So when we came here to the United States, I mean, the 3 times that I've seen my father prior to me being 14, they were all bad experiences. And when we moved to the States and we were living with him, it was either his way or the highway. And at 14, I left everything I knew behind, all my friends and my lifestyle and everything that I knew. And I came to this country. And our family wasn't very receptive. Cousins, aunts. And then my relationship with my dad was very tumultuous. I remember the very first time I ever got hit was by my dad. Slap was by my dad, and all these different things. And then just having religion forced down your throat. And I was the kid that was like, this is so fake, just going off. And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just die instead of continuing being mistreated by the person who's supposed to care for me. I can remember going to school with welts on my body and having to lie to my teachers and, just different things. And I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And so one day I decided what would be the less painful way to do it. So I drank Clorox, and then I was just like, I'm just going to go lay down, and then I'm just going to die. But I guess, God had other plans, and I woke up and I was just pissed that I was still here. So from there, it just took a whole different phase, I guess. And I just started getting heavily into drugs and drinking and just like different type of lifestyle that would ultimately end my in my death without me having to do it, because growing up so churchy and religious, suicide is frowned upon, is the worst thing you can commit that you can't come back from. So I would try to find other ways to end it and not have to do it myself. So that's my story.
Wow, wow. And today, look at you today. We're going to come back to this, but today we are so grateful that every single one of you are here. You are living a life that's successful and nobody would know. And look at you, Emma. You are so strong and such a powerful influence you have in the world. I mean, I don't know what we would do without you guys. The world wouldn't be the way it is if you guys didn't make it. I'm telling you right now that. Angie, I love you. I celebrate your life. I celebrate your life, Kisha. I celebrate your life, Rose. But you know what? It's like we have to now talk to the women and men right now, about after you did this and you came up with the idea that you are here. So, did you get support? Did you find support from family? Did you find support from church community? Did you find support for you to be where you are today? And we're going to talk about what are the steps, what are some strategies, what are some tips that you can share with other people. Emma, you going to share with other people what kind of what signs do we look out for in tips? Today is a day where you can empower somebody and let them know that it's not worth it. We understand what they are going through, but it's not worth doing that, because you all know that your life, somebody is looking up to you, right? Now we're going to take a break and we will be back. We are going to talk to our guests, our attendees, about what it's like to be back. You are back now. And then what are the strategies that help you be here? Now that you are here, what can you share with someone to help them so they do not have to go that path, right? So they don't have to go that path. This is what we want to talk to them about. strategies. And this time, we're not gonna wait for one like we've been doing. We're gonna interact. This time here, we're gonna interact. So, Rose, you said this, that, and the other. So, what happened? How did you feel? You guys going to interact among each other so our audience can have fun with us, not me asking all the questions right now. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? Emma, we're going to interact with one another. Ben, let us know when it's time to come on. Benji? Let us know. Thank you so much for waiting for us. We are here. We are talking to survivors of suicide. Some have already carried out with the idea, with the thought, and some did not succeed. So we just want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. We love and appreciate our guest speakers today. There are marvelous women today, but they are telling you, they're sharing with you what they have been through in their life, and right now they're going to share the strategies, how community plays a role in their life, whether it's community or family. How did it happen for them to be where they are today? So go ahead, Angie.
For me, it was really prayer life, family support as well, therapy, and to be completely transparent, answering the call on my life. I tried to run from it. I tried to make it one thing, and God was saying it was another. The spoken word was what I said it was going to be. I began writing poetry at the age of 13. And so when God opened up a place for me in ministry to minister through spoken word, I said that's what it is. So for years I ran from the pulpit, from the call of being a minister. In God's church I ran, it was gonna be poetry. God, I don't know who you're talking to. You cannot use that girl that used to be in the club
Emma.
drinking gin and smoking Newport. You cannot use that girl that you could, like, I just still at that point, second guess who I was. You cannot use that girl who was spraying Febreze in her hair before she got to church. That just being real, and so like I said, He will use you. He will let you know that you are perfectly imperfect to give Him the glory. He will allow you to understand that there is purpose in your pain. He will allow you to know that you are good even in your brokenness. It's like how the diamond is pressed, or how the olive is pressed, or how He's going to get the glory out of it. It's a reason behind the pressing. And so my support came from prayer and therapy. Even with the seizures, I suffered memory loss. So I was embarrassed at one point because I used to have to put sticky notes on my phone. I wouldn't be able to find the notes on the phone because I couldn't remember where that icon was. And so just dealing with that and having so much going on in my mind at one time. God, how can you want to use me? And or why do you want to use me? And so even now to this day, just being, he literally told me, be bold in who you are. And so having the confidence to be who he called me to be allows me to help other women and not be ashamed of what I've gone through, not be ashamed of my testimony, not be ashamed that I was sitting in my car attempting to commit suicide, not be ashamed of the suicidal thoughts, and even in my house, having those things after being diagnosed with multiple chronic illnesses. So, support and therapy. People think that you can't have a therapist and have a relationship with God. That is not true. If you can go to the
Yeah.
doctor, you know what I mean, Rose? Like if you can go to the
Yeah,
doctor,
he gives the doctors the knowledge to do what they do. He
exactly.
graces them.
Yeah. And even with Marquisha, when you were saying everything that you dealt with at the hospital, I can only imagine. My hospitalization was centered around epilepsy. It wasn't, to the extent that you described. And I thought about the medication that I was on. Were you on medication when you were hospitalized as well?
Man, my medications had medications that had medications. So I was literally on a medicine for bipolar depression. I was on medicine for schizophrenia. I was on a medicine for a sleeping pill. I was on a sleeping pill to help my sleeping pill to help me sleep.
Wow.
Right.
Mm.
One of the things that you were saying about support, I love that. But a lot of times, support is not always going to initially come in the way that we're used to seeing it, right?
Mhm.
So I used to be like, always nobody, 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 nobody. No, there were a lot of somebodies. And that's one thing that I really want to share with people. We're so used to looking from support from the places that hurt us. So what do you
Mhm.
say when you say that, Markeisha? We're looking for healed results from unhealed people as we are going on our healing journey. So we say, hey, my mom did this, but I need my mom to show up. Well, guess what? They do the best with the time, the energy, and skills that they have at that particular moment. So if they have not healed, you're not going to get a healed reaction from them, right? So in my particular instance, the help was there. Where was the help? The help was at 211. The help was on these toll-free hotlines. The help was on the doctor. The help was on all these, because I was surrounded by spiritual people. I was surrounded by counselors. I was surrounded by holistic people. Every time I popped up on something, there was somebody there. But because the help did not look like what I was used to it looking like, it took me a lot longer in my journey to get where I need to be, until finally God said, listen, you're going to have to pay me what you owe. This thing that I'm calling you to do, it's not up to you anymore. I remember laying in the hospital bed and God was like, listen, so you're not going to die. You're going to be here. So how you are here is a choice. Like, I can get it to the point where you just lay here and you can't move, but you're going to feel it all. You're going to do what I told you to do. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Right. So when I got to that point, it just so happened that when help came, help had to come for me to be able to recognize it. Like, it took me over, like, I'm talking about something that happened in 2000, going through it until 2018. It took me 18 years to be able to recognize help, but help finally came. And 5'6" brown skinned woman who was a hey girl, and when I swear a little bit, she will understand. So the journey does not always have to be as hard as we make it, because there are people out there that you can reach out to, right? Internet technology, even if you have a cell phone and you do not have service, you can call 911.
That's true.
So my
Right.
advice would be, just because it doesn't look the way you want it to look, right? Because when you get a box from UPS, it don't look like what's on side of it. It's banged up, it's taped up, It does not have to look like what you're used to it looking for. You're looking for the gift that's on the inside, right? So be open and receiving help from these outside sources. So for some people, it may not be medication, right? Like we were talking about, Angie. For some
That's
people,
right.
it's not going to be the people who are surrounding us, right? So we have to be open, but you have to be ready. So
You
once
I
said,
love
you're
that.
ready
I
and
love
you're
that.
open, you'll
yeah,
find that it's literally, you can watch. There is not a church, and I'm a Southern girl. There is not a church in the South that I can go to on a day where somebody is there and say, pray for me until I get this thing up off of me, that somebody will not sit.
Wow.
So it's there.
you
Man,
said something about like your mom, just trying to be with people that weren't healed. I truly believe that hurt people, and some of our biggest disappointments are because we place expectations on people that aren't ready to deal with what we've been through. You know what I mean? Yeah.
um, so for me, the help didn't come. And I guess it was because I could be very prideful and I could mask it very well. So I never looked like the person who needed help. I was the strong one. I was the one with the head on the shoulder, right? I remember my little sister passed away and I wasn't allowed to grieve because I had to be the one that was the strong one for my mom, or the strong one that was handling everything. So my help was in the form of substance abuse and abusive relationships, because deep down, I just felt like that's what I deserved. So I just kept going through that cycle over and over and over again. And I remember I was in this relationship. Like, I didn't care what happened or when he hit me, just not on my birthday. Right. And that's what he did. And the father was like, I know exactly what it's going to take for you to get out of that situation. And I remember going to church with him and I was just praying like, God, make him give his life to you, change him. And I was saying all this stuff. And next I know, I was going to the front and getting saved. And I didn't even know how I got to the front. And I feel like for me, God came to the miry clay and came himself and got me. He was like, this doesn't serve you anymore. And at that point, kind of like Markeisha just said, I had a choice to make. Was I going to say yes to him or was I going to say yes to the old? But I knew one thing for sure, that that old was only going to end me in a box. And I remember one day my brother said to me, so Angel, when you were in that, you were spraying your hair with Febreze. I was just cracking up because I was thinking of the whole church. When I pulled up to the church parking lot, everybody knew I was there because I was smoking on the way to the church. And as soon as I was leaving, I lit up my little J on my way out the church. So, and I remember one day my brother said to me, you know, you're addicted, you know? And I was like, no, I'm not. I can stop whenever I want to. He was like, okay, well, choose ye this day whom you're going to serve, right? And I was like, y'all religious people so extra, right? But I really wanted a relationship with the Father. So a couple of days later, I was like, okay, God, obviously, I guess you don't like this, but I like it. But I want to please you. So if you don't like it, please take it from me. And overnight, he took all of that from me. And from then, he began to restore me. He began to clean me up. But I had to make a choice. I had to cut off the connections, right, to the people that I'm not going to say they made me do it because nobody made me do anything. But the people that made things accessible to me, I had to let them go. Whether they were family members, whether they were best friends, whether they were boyfriends or whatever they were, I had to let them go. And it is true. It comes down to a choice, and it comes down to wanting to live. And for me, I feel like we don't get to that point until God brings us to that point, right? If we all look at our situations, there were many instances where we saw glimpses of the light, right? But I feel like it wasn't until our testimony was supposed to be completed that then that was going to be the perfect time. And Angie, I just want to ask you, what was the aha moment for you?
Honestly, it had to have been the Holy Spirit. It was no control of my own. I honestly will say that, like, if it was up to me, it would have been done. Like the analogy that I use, how we see on movies, it's the devil over here and the angel over here. Like, that's literally what it felt like. So just to have that next breath happen, each time I had the thoughts, each time I wanted to finish, it had to have been the Holy Spirit. And so when he speaks to me, it's a little different because the fact that I can still hear him, even though I've tried to take something away that he's given to me, which is breath, which is life, which is healing, I know it had to have been the Holy Spirit. It was no strength of my own, no thought of my own, because I was literally in that place of, I'm tired. I don't want to be here anymore. They'll be better off without me. I wasn't thinking about how they would feel if I wasn't. I was just thinking about the fact that who I was in that moment was too much and I didn't matter.
Angie, I like that. I want to add a step further to that because not everybody has that same relationship with Most High. That some people don't, but your life is still valuable. So some people may not know what that looks like. So let's talk about a little bit about what that looks like. Like for me, I know my triggers now, right? So today I don't want to get up and take a shower. I don't feel happy for any particular reason. The thoughts that I have are low vibrational thoughts. So when we speak of low vibrational thoughts are always going to cross your mind, right? That's something that you're constantly going to have to live with, something that you're going to have to battle with. But when you start to hear that thing that says I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, those are your signs then and there that something is not where it should be and something needs to be done. So even if you have not made that specific spiritual connection for a higher being, start to take notes of those things. So for me, it's going to be a shopping spree, right? So for some people, the mania or the depression or the things that those signs and those symptoms, they aren't going to be the same for everybody, right? Some of us have
Correct.
high functioning
Correct.
ADHD, right? So I'm probably going to start a new company. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to go shopping and I'm going to spend a whole bunch of money and I'm going to come back down and I'm going to order all this stuff at the restaurant and none of it's going to feel fulfilled, right? So
Right.
it's not always a sad tear or a crying face. But Emma, I want to hear what you have to say about this because I'm interested in knowing. We know what it feels like to us, but when we are looking at other people, what types of things should we be looking for in the people that we love to notice that there is something wrong?
Right. You know what? Exactly this question you asked, I was about to ask Emma that because Emma is the one that can answer that for us. Okay, so Emma, what do you wish more people understood about suicide and how it impacts families?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stigma around suicide. So, for
Right.
example, when I would work with patients in the hospitals who had attempted suicide, it was there was a lot of shame that they were carrying. Their families were kind of hush hush, not really wanting to talk about what was going on. So, I saw my role as a trauma chaplain was to go into the room and say, it's okay for us to talk about this. And in fact, it's important for us to talk about it. And I remember there was this one man, he was 65, 66 years old. He had just retired the year before. He had a wife, he had 3 or 4 children, he had a bunch of grandkids. But when he retired, he felt like he lost his purpose in the world. And he chose to he was also part of a church community, very active in the church, but he didn't feel like he could talk to anyone at the church. He didn't feel like he could talk to his family about how useless he felt as a man. And the only way that he could see forward was to put a gun to his head. And he
Okay.
actually fired the gun. But the way the bullet went into his head, it missed all the important stuff. I don't even know how that's
Wow.
logistically possible. But after the event, he was talking with the bullet still in his head. The surgeons decided to not operate because it would have been more dangerous to operate and to move anything around. So that's just kind of the background of what I was walking into. And he was reluctant to speak. But he said, once he did open up, he said, one of the things that really surprised me the most is how much my family loves me and how much my church community loves me. I didn't know that they loved me, which
But
which was shocking to me that he would feel that way, but that was his lived experience. And what I'm hearing you all reflect also is that same feeling of I am not loved or I am not worthy of love. Right? And that's the stuff that we've got to start talking about. Because
okay, so
this idea that we have to have it all together, like on social media, that we can't present the negative stuff, we have to look a certain way, I think is really leading a lot of people to feel very isolated in their thoughts of depression or overwhelm. Is that fair?
That's fair. I wanted,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
Okay.
fair.
what,
And I forgot who it was, but somebody highlighted how we feel like we got to have the mask on. And for years, I dealt with that. And Markeisha, even to what you said as far as the shopping spree and, guilty, it wasn't just a moment. And then it was things that led up to it that I didn't identify with, that I didn't know. But just as Emma was just saying, like, we feel like we got to have it all together. Um, I wanted to look perfect. I wanted to feel perfect. I wouldn't share. I was embarrassed during that time to share. I would be crying one moment when I got ready to leave out of the house. It looked like there was no worries. I could be broke, busted and disgusted. But when I left, you were gonna think that I had everything together. You understand? So even leading up to it, and even for those that do not have a relationship, I didn't grow up in church. Like I didn't know who God. Like I felt like God was up there with some strings, and just everybody was puppeteers. Like my mom would talk about them. My grandmothers were praying women. You know what I mean? We didn't go to church every Sunday. We didn't go. We may have gone to church once, twice a year. So it wasn't that. Like when I say the Holy Spirit, it had to have been the Holy Spirit. I didn't realize what it was until after the fact, and it wasn't the next day. It wasn't the next moment. It was time had passed, and it's like even when you ask the question, like, what made you not, it had to have been Holy Spirit. I know it was no strength of my own. And just like, a lot of people don't understand, like Rose was saying, like she had the addictions. It's not always drugs or alcohol. It can be shopping. It can be eating. It can be so many things because it looks different. There's not a certain look about it. There's not a certain way somebody may feel. The person may be happy, and you can see sometimes, like on social media, for instance, someone may have taken their life, and family members may say, were they acting different? No, they were just here 5 minutes ago and drove up the street and committed the act of suicide. It's not always a sign. To Emma's point, the stigma of it may people think it looks a certain way. No, it's not always a sign. Had I finished, I'm sure the commentary and the remarks at my funeral would have been, she was always so happy, because that's the mask that I wore. But I am so transparent.
Yes.
If I feel like, I'm not into it today, my capacity is at its limit. I also know my boundaries, and I know how to like get me. And I wasn't always at this point. When I come home from work, I am so content to sit instead of trying to find something to do, because I used to be so busy, but it was not always productive. You know what I mean? And that causes so much, because also in those moments, I truly believe that spirits are transferable. You can say that you're operating in a spirit of productivity to help someone else, but when their spirit transfers to you, then you're carrying that unnecessary weight, and then trying to come back like you still have it all together, and now you're at capacity overload mentally, physically, emotionally, and your spirit is drained because you're out here feeding people, and because people see the mask of happiness, they're pulling from you, and now you're spreading that depression, pretending it's
Yes.
happiness, and it's contagious.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so wait, let me clarify this one here. I wanted Emma to share with us in the audience the fact that she's left behind. I want to see from the left behind part, what do you want people to know about suicide from the left behind? Because you are one of those that the family member carried it out. So, what do you think about it right now? And what can you say to someone who is attempting to do it? So, listen, I am a member of a group called Suicide Awareness. Today, someone posted, my son committed suicide yesterday. It is something that's continually happening. It's 1% every 10 seconds. So right now, this is the opportunity. Let's say, for example, this is the opportunity right now that you have to tell someone that you love, that what you think about suicide, and how does the family that's left behind feel? What's going on in the family's life when the person is gone? This is what I would like for you to share with our audience, please.
Sure. One of the reasons I wrote this book, Unshattered, is because I was trying to answer the question of, why am I still alive? Right? When all these other people have chosen to end their own lives, why am I still alive? And I had to look at my foundational orientation versus the foundational orientation of my brothers and of my father. And all of them came into this world, I believe, not believing that they were worthy of life, or believing that life was too hard. That was just kind of like their basic way of operating. And my basic way of operating is for more life. I've always had this fundamental belief that there is more life available to me. And I think that's why I went into the ministry, because I saw the possibility of what happens when you embrace life fully in all of its messiness and in all of its glory. So when I think about it from that perspective, my brothers especially spent a lot of time talking about how life happened to them. And I spent a lot of time talking about how life happens for me, right? Regardless of the situation. Right now, I'm dealing with a cancer diagnosis, right? But what I know is that fundamentally, everything happens for me. So when I think about this disease in my body from the perspective of how did this happen for me, I'm going to have a much different interpretation than if I come from a perspective of why did this happen to me? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. There's this one quote that I love, right? And it is from Glorilla, right? And Glorilla says, every day the sun won't shine, but that's why I love tomorrow. A lot of times when we talk to entrepreneurs and we talk to people who have been through some things, the difference between them actually being successful is what it is that they do, or them giving that thing, is the fact that they didn't give up when they got the toughest. And I think when we are in that suicidal moment, or we have that suicidal feeling, we feel like that this point that I'm at, there cannot be any coming back, or there cannot be any. When I tell you, I have been in literal situations where I'm just like, okay, I can't do this, guy. Like, you're gonna have to do it, right? So I had to go through those rainy days, but what was on the other side of that was so much greater. And I think one of the things that I have took from my treatment, and one of the things that I have told other people, is you got to learn how to lie, cheat, and steal. So what does it mean? It means that even if in that moment you believe that negative thought, if you believe that that particular time is the worst, that is the time when you got to lie to yourself, right? It's kind of like, ladies, when we put on a dress and we know we got a couple extra places that we probably shouldn't wear, we be like, girl, I look good. You have to do the same thing about yourself with you get these negative thoughts. You got to lie to yourself until it becomes real. I am currently, I am presently, put it in that positive thought, right? The rent's still going to be due, the light bill's still going to be due, but you have to, faith is not just believing it. Faith is moving as though you know it is going to happen, right? So I am beautiful. I am loved. I am empowered. I am the best version of myself now, right? And then we got to cheat a little bit. So what does that mean? You don't have to have it all figured out. That's why these women are on these calls, because they have went through what they have went through. So lean on somebody who can help you, right? Successful people get mentors so that they can get ahead in the business. So they don't have to go through the stumbling blocks. They don't have to go through the trials and errors. So cheat off somebody else's paper. We have people who go to school to get degrees. We have Emma, who's in the ministry. We have Angie, who's in the ministry. We have Doctor, who's in the ministry. You have people here who want you to cheat off of them, right? Cheat and steal, right? Steal that joy from that future moment that you want. Steal that happiness from that future that you want. We always talk about we'll die for somebody, but that's the easiest route. It's so much harder to live. Live for yourself. Live for the people you love.
Right. Rose, what do you have to say about that? I would like to know, share with us, you know, what would life be if you weren't here? I know it's difficult to say, but how does your family respond to you right now?
It's funny because after I give my life to the Father, I actually begin to have a relationship with my family. And I was going to actually respond to what Markeisha just said.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's so funny she mentioned the sun, because the other day I was just sitting there because I have a group of people that I'm building in the financial literacy department. And I was like, I want to say something inspiring to them today. And I was just sitting there, meditating and pondering. And what came to me was the sun. And this is what came to me. The sun rises every single day. Now, some days you have clouds that are blocking the sun, right? You have darkness that are blocking the sun, but it doesn't mean that the sun is not doing its job, right? You just have to go
Right.
an extra step, right, to see it. Even if you have to jump on social media and look in Italy somewhere or Africa somewhere, but the sun is there, right? And I think the issue is that, and I guess that was my issue with my family, that why I felt disconnected was because the family that I grew up in, we're not emotional at all, right? Just deal with it. Whatever happens, deal with it. And nobody takes the time to actually listen to what the other person is saying. So when we take the time to actively listen to somebody's heart, you'll pick
Right.
up on certain words, you'll pick up on certain gestures or facial expressions that let you know, like, this person has this need. And, when we really take the time to love on people by listening to them, then it's okay to validate them. I understand you're feeling this way, and this is what you're seeing right now, and it's okay, but it doesn't have to be what it remains, right? Like one of my favorite scripture, it says, "Be quick to agree with your adversary, lest he overtakes you." Like one of the pastors at the church that I was at, he always used to say, Markeisha just kind of mentioned it, the thought is not yours unless you accept it and receive it. Like these thoughts are going to come, but it's what you do with them. So looking now, how would my family be, or how would life be for my family? It would be horrible because my nieces and my nephews, they love me. I became my mom's caretaker when she became ill. Had I not been here, I wouldn't be able to do that for her. You know, um, I developed a beautiful relationship with her as friends, where we never had that before. Even with my right now being the glue between my dad and my siblings, just different positions that I hold now in the family that would be void had I not been here.
Right.
So I'm grateful that I am here.
Right. Okay. Angie, tell me, how do you feel about you being here today?
I am grateful. I will say this as it relates to my family, like in retrospect, thinking about the things that they've achieved and accomplished, and the things that I would have missed. Um, yeah, I'm so glad that it didn't happen. I thank God for that. My family and I don't know, like we just became empty nesters, and so just seeing my children grow. We're about to have our first grandchild. This is our baby's first year of college. Seeing my daughter that I call my mom for for many reasons. She gives me me. Seeing her graduate from college, like I'm just sitting here thinking about things that I would have missed.
Yes.
I would have missed out on so much. And even in that, my dad passed in 2018, and there are so many things that I wish he could see or could have seen. And so even thinking about that, like I just truly, I truly believe that had I gone that route, I would have missed so many blessings because God continues to be God. No matter if we leave this earth or not, he's still going to be God. You know what I mean? And so just the fact that he remains powerful, he remains mighty, and just blessing my family or allowing them to grow in diversity and through life. I am glad that I'm here to support them on their journey. I'm glad that I'm able to witness what they achieve. Just so many things, a lot. It's so easy. It's so easy for us to look at bad things, but if we even think about like the little things that we are able to complain about even today, our good still outweighs that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There is somebody somewhere. There are a few people sitting in ICU rooms right now, not knowing what's going to happen. There are some people that have fatal diagnoses. Um, I went through a health battle. Still going through, but one of my sisters said you got to go through it to come out. And so I truly believe even the fact that I am still here breathing and able to move limbs that a couple of years ago that I wasn't able to move, being here in, for this opportunity when there are words that aren't able to escape my mind because I can't remember them, and just being able and having the ability to sit here and and interact with women that I've never met before. This is, truly God ordained. And so these are opportunities that I would have missed. But because he says that there is purpose behind us, um, he calls us to be great. He calls us to be mighty. He knows the plans for our lives. And so I just truly believe that I would have missed out on so much. Even the parts of the mama that probably has gotten on their nerves. Uh, but they know it's all love. You know what I mean? Like it's just so much. So I'm grateful. I've been able to minister to others who may have lost or who have lost loved ones to suicide, and God gets all the glory for that. But just being in those particular spaces, I can only imagine what that would have been for my family.
Thank you so much. Now, Markeisha, have you shared with us already in our audience? What would life be without you today?
Um, so I'll say this. If you ever notice, like in the Bible, like I think it's Genesis chapter 5, and then in Matthew 1 again, where they have these ancestral lineages, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing that comes to mind is I'm somebody's ancestors. So one day somebody is gonna look back at the example I set, and what does that say to my
Wow.
sister's 11
That's
children, my
right.
sister's 11 children, their children, my brother's children? What does that say to the people around me that she gave up, right? What does that say to them? So when I think about what would life be about without me, the first thing would it be was now I have left behind for these nieces, these nephews, these cousins, these sisters, this brother, this mother, this family. First off, I've left behind the president that it is okay to give up when times get hard. So no matter what that thought was at that particular time, it does not outweigh the love that I have for them, right? So the next thing is I'm called to do something, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I had a conversation with God a long time ago, and I was like, God, guess what? If my only task is to help this person who's going to be of great importance, it might just be one day they on the street and I have $1 and they need that dollar to get to the bus to go to the next best thing. Am I okay with that? So what happens when I don't play the role that I'm supposed to play, and I got people who I am supposed to help be great waiting on me to get my life together? What happens to their
Yes.
lives?
Yes.
The realization of just because you cannot see it, you are somebody's domino effect. So when we talk about what life would be without Markeisha Eddington Williams, it would be to the point where I could not give a plausible explanation and be accountable to the people who I affect on a day-to-day basis.
Markeisha, I was about to say yes.
And you saw me clapping, right?
Yeah,
You
when
saw
you
me
wrote that name
clapping.
down, I was literally over here saying yes, yes.
I want you guys to share message of comfort to someone right now that may have this thought.
Be-
Message.
Before we do that, there was a question that
Oh,
says, "Are there some indications of potential suicide attempts that we can look for?"
there you go.
So
Yes.
yeah, that was a question online.
Okay.
I would say, because I've had some people as well who has passed from suicide, and the first thing I would say is look for changes in people's day-to-day routine, right? So if you have that person who is usually showing up at certain places, showing up to certain things, and sometimes it's not. We'll talk about how you approach it, but look for their changes in their day-to-day routines, right? So
Mhm.
what are the things like if they're not showing up to work, right? Or they're angry, they're frustrated, little things set them off that normally wouldn't do that, right? Start checking on your people, start going to your people. The one of the signs of depression in itself is people who are in chaos and constant clutter. So if you're going to your friend's house and your friend's house is normally somewhat put together and you just see piles of things, there is some type of stress there. If they're not keeping their body up, if their children are not kept up, right? If they are not going out. So it's a lot of things that you can look for, but my greatest thing is going to be know your person, right? And once you know your person, lead with love. So what does that look like? Some people you can't have a harsh conversation with, right? I'm an already kind of woman, so you can't have a harsh conversation with me. Sometimes it's going to be just sitting in a chair and working through things with me. So once you notice that there is a difference, right? You may not know what to call it, but when you're around people, we talk about this thing called energy, right? You know when something feels off,
Yes.
right? So you can't put your finger on it, but girl, this thing is off, right? Start there. Start being more in tune with who you are. So when you're around people and you see that this energy and this thing is off, learning how to lead with love so that you can help people get to a place where they need to be. Another thing that we can talk about when we talk about the signs and symptoms inside of yourself, right? We were talking about this earlier, right? So when you get up and your mood is just off for no particular reason. I love Judge Toller. I think she used to be over divorce court, right? And she was talking about her bout with clinical depression and things of that nature. So it's on Facebook. Just, Google it or Facebook it or whatever. And you can actually see. But the thing is, being in tune enough with the person to know when something's off and being in tune with yourself to trust when you feel the energy is not where it should be and approaching the situation with love.
Right, right. Now,
That's good.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's hear it
I
from
was just gonna
Emma.
say that
Okay.
I feel like Markeisha really nailed it. So thank you. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Any kind of out of the norm behavior, or if you notice that they're not engaging emotionally in ways that maybe they have in the past, or if they're turning more to drugs or alcohol or sex or anything that may not serve their highest good. Not that, I mean, sex can for sure, but an overabundance, for example, or with people they're not normally with. So things that kind of take them out of wanting to be present. So when someone is starting to feel suicidal, they don't want to be present in this world. And they will do whatever it takes to not be in the present moment.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, Rose, tell them. Hold on, Dr. Dan. All right, Rose, tell them exactly in your situation. Can you share with them a word of comfort? Share comforting words right now with someone who may be thinking about it.
Absolutely. You matter. Um, you matter. Your situation is not the sum of you, right? You have everything that you need inside of you for you to be successful at life. People love you, and just look outside of yourself. Sometimes when we're drowning, we can't see the life jackets or the rafts that are around us. But just know that as long as you hold on till tomorrow, there's going to be something on the other side for you. Just don't give up on yourself because you matter, your life matters, and you are loved.
NG, share some words.
um, you are enough. You are good enough. Um, I like to say you matter too. A lot of times we are. It's easy for us to love others, but you have to learn and know that it's necessary to be intentional with you. And even in that, sometimes we pour. We think we can pour, and we end up pouring from an empty cup, and we have nothing left to give ourselves. But you have to prioritize your self care and your mental health in knowing that you are good enough exactly who you are. And I'll also say this, one of the questions that I ask people when they are dealing with depression or, dark thoughts, um, I truly believe that we can think of at least one person that we love. It may not always be a child, it may not always be a spouse, a niece, or a nephew, but I ask them, especially when I know the person. So I'll use Rose. Rose, you mentioned your nieces and nephews. I think um, If Rose was having a deep thought or dark thought, and God forbid she won't have any more, but if Rose was having one of those thoughts, I would say, what would you say to your niece or nephew in this moment? It's so easy for us to give advice and give the best encouragement to those who we love, and we neglect ourselves. But when you put it in a frame of mind and give them that example of a person who they love, then it's like, wait, wow, we can give our children advice all day long. But if we know the situation that we're going through, and if it was their identity that was being affected, and it was them, being affected and hurt, what will we say to them? And we need to learn to say those things and be intentional with ourselves in that same matter.
Yes, yes. All right. Rose, it sounds look like you want to say something.
No,
Well,
exactly what I was gonna say. Yes, yes, yes.
definitely, definitely.
Agree.
Okay, so this is what we want to say today. We want to say that you matter. We want to say we love you. We want to say that your life has value. We want to say that you are loved more than you can imagine. We want to say that the world is looking for you, meaning we want you to be here. Your life has meaning. You have people to impact. Some people, a lot of people care for you being here. We know that you may not believe it, but today, just think about this. Just think about this. When this thought comes on, you need to figure out a way to turn them off. How you turn them off? Find whatever it is that you like to do and do more of that and less of the things that you don't like to do. This will help someone in a situation where depression starts setting in. Because one thing that leads to that, and I ask a lot of people questions, right? A lot of people ask questions. Even today, I was talking to Anushka. I don't know if she is on this live right now and if she can come on and share with us if she wants to. But I was talking today, and so many people they want to know that they are loved. So I am saying today to be more vocal with the people around us, to be more vocal, meaning sometimes I know you good. I know women, who are strong. They know they're strong, right? However, when we say you're so strong, but we need you here, I love you, I appreciate people. I think that's one of the issue that we have nowadays. It's like people take other people for granted, and we need to look back and learn. We have to learn this over again. We have to relearn how to appreciate people. And they don't have to do anything for you to appreciate them. See, this is what we want to understand also. Want you to understand that you don't have to do something for me to thank you. I am thanking you by just being alive, not knowing what you have been through. I don't have to know all your stories to thank you, to appreciate you. If I feel like doing something for you, I am going to do it, because it may be that list of things that you do. You send somebody a card and let them know that they appreciate it. Let me tell you what I do. I have a for-profit business where I create products. And the first thing that comes to mind every time I make a batch is who I can send them to, who I can give the fresh fruit. Let me put it this way. So, whatever your talent is, you can use that as well to let somebody know that you matter. Let's say, for example, you ordered 1,000 book, but you can afford to give 5 people a book. It's not always about money. If you know someone look down, a little bit, How about you make a difference? Each one of us can make a difference. We cannot change the whole world. We can't. But we can make a difference with what we can do. I can make soap. So I have soaps with me in my car, little bags. I just want to give it to you. I just want to give it to you. And there is somebody recently, I know I am about to send them a care package. I just want to do that because you don't know at this point what it means to someone. Sometimes it's not even your word. A hug means a lot. So we want to go out of our comfort zone to make a difference in somebody's life. I love to sing. So sometimes I call my friend. If it's their birthday, I will open my mouth and sing. I love dancing. I will go crazy around my friends and they will laugh at me hysterically because I'm just like, and then they're like what, Maggie? You know, I do that, and sometimes it makes a difference. You have no idea how sometimes the little things we do make a difference. So today, here's what I find out for you. Okay, I find out to recognize the sign, and I am taking it back from Emma. Recognize the signs, changes in behavior. If somebody is withdrawn from social media, do you know? People are gonna think, listen, do you know if I don't see somebody respond within 24 hours, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Are you okay, sis? Are you okay? I will make a phone call. I will make a phone call to find out, okay, wait, are you all right, sis? I haven't heard you in a while. Are you all right? The little things you do. But you know what, though? Let me tell you this. While you're doing this, somebody, God's going to send somebody for you too. God is going to send somebody to reach out to you because that's what you are sowing. You reap what you sow. If you sow that you are caring to people, well, you're going to find people caring for you as well. So now, if you see someone looking or talking about being hopeless, somebody may be going through something and they feel helpless. Those are signs for us to recognize how to intervene. If this person is your friend, maybe there is a way that you can find out. That's why I am very picky with the people I have around me because I want to get to know you. I want to get to know you. Knowing me means I am on social media every day. But if you don't see me, you can check on me too. You can call me. And if you don't see me for a week at all, you can come knock. You want people to check on you. Everyone want to feel valuable. They want to feel needed. I have a group, I stay there. I talk to people. How are you, sis? You all right? Is everything okay? I was just checking in. I was just checking in. You know, I know we are all busy. It's not like I have a whole bunch of time. No, because I can be in the lab creating a package. I can be making candles. I can be making bath salts. I can be doing things, but sometimes I just feel like if God put someone on your heart, immediately checking in, sis, are you all right? You okay? You don't have to be ordained pastor to do this. You don't have to be anything. Absolutely nothing. You don't even have to be a Christian to do this. You know, to check on someone. You don't have to be a minister, an apostle, or a pastor, or an evangelist. Or no, people want to feel loved. They want to feel wanted. They want to feel needed. And this is what we can do. And some people mask it well. Like for me, I can mask it. I can mask it. But I know some friends I have, and they're right here, right now. They'll be like, no, Maggie, come on. Mm-mm. No, Dr. Reed, no. Something is going on. You all right? What do you need? You know, you need to know your people. That's why you need to have that community. Every single one of us need to build a community. Because when somebody is missing within that community, whether you can handle 20, 25, or 30 people, you need at least the amount of people where you can check on one another. You cannot check. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I cannot keep up with every single one of them. I cannot, but I can keep up with 25. And it doesn't have to be every day, it doesn't have to be every week. I can say, today, my lunch break, I'm going to call two people, 5 minutes each, because I got to eat. 5 minutes each, right? We're looking at all the expression. If somebody say, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, those are signs, right, Emma? I don't know what to do. This is hard for me. I cannot finish this school. My professor is giving me a hard time, and I don't like that. I don't know what to do with myself. Those are signs. You need to recognize signs and say, take a break, take a break, take a break. You can tell I work at a school. So when I hear a student, I hear a student crying, so I say, listen, first of all, it's going to be all right. I'm going to help you. What do you need me to do? If they start crying, I may offer a hug, because some people, they know. So you will know as well when it's time to give a hug or not. But open, open up. Ask people, is everything okay? So what happened with this idea you had? You had an idea 3 months ago. I haven't heard you talk about it. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do? It's not gonna remove anything from you. If you ask someone, is everything okay? They may not want to tell you, but you are telling them by asking that you care. Okay, so now you need to encourage open conversation. Conversation. I will start singing. I will do something that will have you, open up a little bit. You want them to open up. Open up about mental health. Open up about, sometimes people feel as though you will not understand them. And you know why this happened? It's because we hide what we've been through. When you hide what you've been through, people think you got it all together. I tell people, I am a mess. I tell people, I have difficulty to do this. But this is my strategies. I say, I may book 2 meetings at the same time. So what I decide to do right now is to put it on my cell phone. And my cell phone rings. The alarm rings to remind me. I may forget to drink water. So the alarm ring and let me know, okay, you need to drink water, Dr. Reed. You need to drink water. So we want people to know that to open up, they don't have to say much, but you are available. People want to know that you are available. Because what's going on in the world right now, right? People think you are too busy. You don't have time for them. And that's the worst feeling. I know. That's the worst feeling someone can have. And that will lead to depression when they feel the world is moving fast. I'm sorry, Dr. Reed, but I know you're busy. I say, no, not for you. I have time. I have time. When do you need to speak with me? I always say that. It doesn't matter if I'm really busy. But the moment somebody say, I know you're busy, I say, no, let's talk. If I can leave whatever I'm doing, I will say, okay, let's talk. I may have to call you back, but are you all right? Is everything okay? You want people to feel as though they matter. Their their struggle matter. You're not a therapist, but sometimes people don't want you to solve their problem. They just want you to hear. They just want you to hear them, listen to them, let them know that okay, I understand. Okay, I don't have the answers right now, but together we can figure out something. And if I can't solve it, I can call a therapist. I can call another friend who is a psychologist. I can call somebody who is a holistic acupuncturist. I can call someone that may be able to give you some ideas. That's why you need to know those people. I'm sure Emma have a long list of all type of people that can help. Right, Emma? When someone call you and say, I need this, I need that, right? You have to go through, okay, so where are you? This is what I'm looking for, guys, for us to be able. This is right now something we want people to know that we are here. We are listening. If they need us, we are here. Right, Emma? Let them know, Emma, that we are here because that's what you do. Talk to
Yeah.
them.
And in fact, one of the things that my business offers is we've got a free 28-day online program around healing your own trauma. Because I think part of what happens for people is they feel like, okay, I can't feel better unless I get into therapy for a decade, right? Some people don't have the financial resources to do that. Some people don't have the time resources.
Mhm.
And I feel like, world events are speeding up. There's more and more that's happening right now that's causing us to get traumatized.
Yes.
Just thinking about what has happened in the world in the past couple of months or this year.
Hmm.
Even with natural disasters, we lived through Hurricane Helene here in Western North Carolina, and it devastated our entire community. And all of our roads were gone, all of our bridges were gone, people lost their houses. So people are dealing with lots of different types of trauma. And so one of the things my company offers is a free 28-day online do-it-yourself, heal yourself program where you can learn tools and ways to heal your trauma in real time so that you don't have to wait for that therapy appointment or wait to find the time.
Yes, yes. And I know, Rose. Come on, Rose. Tell them what you do. Because that is also of some form of modality that people can use if they're going through trauma, if they're going through depression. Come on, Rose. Tell them.
Yes, ma'am. So definitely, the holistic path as far as acupuncture and massage therapy, those two things are very vital for the overall health of a person. But the number one thing those two things do is they help with mental stability and just to relax your entire being as whole. It doesn't matter if you get an acupuncture treatment for a cough, it is still going to work on your somatic system. It's still going to help to bring complete align balance or homeostasis to the entire body, from your mind to your body to your spirit. All of it is all connected, it's all one. So
Right. But you
I
do
yeah.
practice. You practice.
Yes, yes,
Share
ma'am.
them.
I have a clinic in Tampa, Florida. It's called Restoration Well Healing.
And you provide.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
What do you provide?
massage and acupuncture.
There you go. That's it.
Yes.
Guys, there you go. So if somebody need to reach you, what do they do?
They
W?
can www.restorationwellhealing.com, or they can find me on Instagram, Restoration Well, or they can call or text 813-922-9131.
Definitely. Okay, Emma, what do they do if they need you?
Sure, they can go to emmachurchman.com/trauma.
Yes. Markeisha, what can somebody do if they need you?
They can actually reach me on Facebook under Keisha Williams, Quisha. And I also just want to drop to people the suicide hotline number because it is a national
Yes.
resource that's available to all people. It's
Yes.
988. So if you do need to speak to someone, they're available 24/7 through holidays, everything. They can also reach us at shespeakscommunity.com, where we have a members network where we do have free resources. You can look for my counselor, holistic practitioner who helped me through things, Healing Through Shanika Marie, and also another counselor that I see, the Hugging Healer, and they're on all social media networks.
Thank you so much. What about you, Angie?
Taylor Reams, coaching and consulting, empowerment, encouraging self-care growth, faith-based growth. Also, you can reach me at 803-229-0936, or you can email me at Taylor Reams, TaylorReamesCC @gmail. And for books, if you want to take that route and find encouragement in the prayer journals or the self help books, those are available on Amazon.com. You can type in Angie Taylor Reams.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Well, let's share this information to you guys. Okay. So, the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center is focused on trauma, mental illness, and the goal is to empower you so you can bounce back. We want to share strategies with you so you can overcome, so you know what to do, tips so you learn how to live a life that is victorious, a life that you don't have to live where you were or where you are right now. We want to take you to that next level. I myself is a holistic life coach. I am also an author of what, 7 books. I am also I am on Facebook, on all the platforms, social media platform, Instagram. You're going to find me anywhere you put Dr. Reed, Margaret Reed. You're going to find me. I am also a psychotraumatologist. So with that one here, I will sit with you and share strategies on how to deal with the trauma, how to deal with your triggers, how to deal with your flashbacks, the things that cause you to stay stagnant. I will work on that with you. I am a life coach, business coach. So if you also need to take your story to the next level to write your books, this is what I do. bit.ly/write my story. That's where you're going to find more information on how to write your book. I also do branding. So with your book, you will have products and services just like I do. I have over 276 products attached to what I do. So when you come to me, not only you going to hear strategies, but I will help you also as a herbalist. I will help you with our package to release the stress. If it's high blood pressure, you release that high blood pressure. I give you tea for that. I do believe in herbal teas. So that's what I have. And if you like candles, I also make candles that can help you relax as well. I make also body butters. I make hair oils. I make body oils that also can help you if you are stressed out. When you smell it, it will help release that stress and take you back to where you need to have balance in your life, bring you back. So we want to help you. We are here. We are available to help you. It's just a matter of reaching out to us. www.womanbreatheagain.com, www.womanbreatheagain.org. You reach the both of those, we will be here. 786-355-8957. You reach us, we will respond. This is what we are here to do. If you need somebody to sing to you too, well, guess what? I'm going to sing to you to relax you a little bit. Well, you're going to pay for that. But I just want you to know, guys, that whatever you're going through, help is available. Here at the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center, we have different coaches that's going to help you with grieving, coaches that's going to help you with your trauma, coaches with someone that's going to help you with your domestic violence, someone that's going to help you with grief, someone that's going to help you with if you were divorced. This can cause someone to go a dark path. So we are here. Whatever you are dealing with, homelessness, if you just lost a child, you can call us and let us know. We have packages that can help you also heal again. We have all type of, sometimes people are going through so much pain in their life, body pain, pain in their body, and they don't want to be here. Well, guess what? We have herbs. And that's why God made the herbs. He said he created the herbs for the healing of the nation. I have spiritual bath. I have herbal bath. Yes, there is a difference. The spiritual bath is different from the regular herbal bath because those herbal bath, I have milk in there. So there are milk, coconut milk, and I have one that's goat milk. But I appreciate everyone tonight for being here. We just want you to know that you are loved and appreciated, that we are here. Angie is here, Keisha is here, Emma is here, Rose is here, and so am I. So we love you and we thank you. Until next time, we're gonna be here next week again at 7 o'clock. 786-355-8957. This is the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center. And all our speakers, we just want you to know that we love you today and you matter. Guys, come on, you matter. Thank you.
Yes.